when the narcissist realizes they should not have played you. When does this happen? When does the narcissist realize that they shouldn't have played you, that they shouldn't have manipulated you, that they should not have used you? When does that happen? And what's the response of the narcissist to that? Well, let's begin at the lower end of the spectrum with the lesser and mid-range narcissists. So the lower lesser, the middle lesser, upper lesser type A, upper lesser type B, lower mid-range, middle range A or B, and upper mid-range. These are the unaware narcissists who don't know what they are and don't know that they manipulate. When do they realize that they ought not to have played you? Short answer, they don't. You see, they don't actually see that they have played you or manipulated you because their narcissism blinds them to it. Lesser narcissists don't actually see that they're doing anything wrong at all. This is why you're often met with a shrug when you complain, and the quizzical look of what? They don't actually see that they've done anything at all. They are utterly blinded to their behaviour. Or, if there's a degree of they can see that it's caused a problem, it's just met with a shrug and so fucking what? It's my way or the highway. Don't like me? Fuck you. Don't like what I do? Get out of here. It's my business. You're sacked. You're fired. That's how it's dealt with. They don't see that they're manipulating you. They're just doing what they do. That wrecking ball, smashing through life. Mid-range narcissists, yes, they have enough cognitive function to recognize that you might complain about their behavior, but they never see it as manipulative. It's justified. I know you don't like it when I don't talk to you for a few days, but if you didn't nag me, I wouldn't have to take a time out. From their perspective, they're not manipulating you. They are responding to your bad treatment, which their narcissism causes them to believe that you're the problem, so that they react in a particular way to assert control. They don't see themselves as manipulative. They see themselves as a victim of your behaviour. How can they be manipulative when all they're doing is responding to your bad behaviour towards them? Remember, the narcissistic perspective causes them to believe that that's what's going on. They don't see that they're manipulators. They really don't. The only instances where you might get a mid-range narcissist who claims to be some kind of master manipulator, some puppeteering Svengali, is where you have a situation of the narcissist who would be king. And those individuals don't realize that they manipulate in certain ways and think that they manipulate in other ways, like a greater narcissist, when actually they don't. Their grandiosity causes them to believe that they are this puppeteering Svengali, and actually they're not. And the only way that they manipulate is in ways which they are blinded to. So even in those instances, although they might talk about being a manipulator, the types of manipulations they say that they engage in, they don't actually do. And that's just an unconscious manipulation of them bullshitting you. If you want to learn more about that, listen to The Narcissist Who Would Be King. But in short, the position when it comes to lesser and mid-range narcissists is they don't see that they've played you because they don't see themselves as manipulators. That's the role of the narcissism, to blind them to what they are doing so they do it instinctively, instantaneously, with conviction and effectively. It's like your startle reflex. If you heard a bomb go, if you heard a loud noise and you did this, I wonder what that is. Perhaps a bomb's gone off. Oh, if it has, there might be shrapnel flying through the air. I'd better make myself small. Oh, too late. I've been cut in half because I've been too busy thinking about what I was going to do rather than simply reacting. The narcissism is the same. It must be like this. Instantaneous to cause the narcissist to assert control, nullify the threat that you pose. And that means that the less accomplished, lesser and mid-range narcissists aren't allowed to know what they're truly doing. Yes, they know that they're shouting at you. Yes, they know that they're not talking to you. But they don't know the real, genuine reason behind it. That it is for the assertion of control, the achievement of the prime aims. So the narcissist, where lesser or mid-range, doesn't realise that they're playing you, manipulating you to begin with. But what about then if you react to the manipulation? Surely they recognise then that there's something that they ought not to have done, that they've committed a boo-boo, that they've fucked up, that they've ended up causing a problem, isn't it then that they realise, shouldn't have done that, should I? Well, in those circumstances, when you react to the manipulation, there's essentially three responses you'll give. You'll either give control and fuel, no problem there, all is hunky-dory in the world of the narcissist. Or you threaten control and you don't provide us any fuel, big problem there. Or you give us some fuel, but you still threaten control. Semi-problematic. Instances 2 and 3 are indeed an issue for any narcissist. But the point is this: the narcissist doesn't think, damn, I shouldn't have done that. I've really fucked up here. What a cock-up. Complete horlicks I've made of this situation with this person. Just doesn't think like that. Why? There's no self-reflection. And the absence of accountability. The narcissist is not accountable for his behaviours to enable the narcissist to achieve the prior aims. We have to be mobile, light on our feet, unhindered, unfettered, not shackled. And therefore, if the narcissist were to go, ooh, yes, shouldn't have done that really there. I've attempted to play this person and completely ballsed it up, and oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What have I gone and done? Duh. No, it just doesn't happen. The narcissist won't notice that they've manipulated you, where lesser or mid-range, and then thereafter, even when your reaction causes a problem for the narcissist doesn't think, oh, it's my fault, because the narcissism will not let it happen. So there isn't a realization that the narcissist ought not to have done what they've done. It's entirely justified. You're the problem. The narcissist doesn't see a downside to their behavior. Where there is a downside, and there will be, you caused it. You didn't do what we wanted. You said the wrong thing. It was his fault, her fault, the man in the moon's fault, but never our fault. And they don't realise. The lesser and mid-range narcissists don't see that the downside has been caused by them. It's the proverbial using a hammer and hitting your thumb when trying to put a nail in and blaming the person stood next to you, saying, look what you've made me do. The narcissist will never ever account for a failure. Don't be misled by certain mid-rangers who'll say, oh dear, my life's a mess. I've caused so many problems for people, I've brought it all on myself. That's just a pity play, and they don't genuinely believe that they've caused the problem. Their narcissism is allowing them to make it seem like they're apologising or that things have gone wrong in order to control you further. And that's just a further manipulation. There is never any genuine admission of fault by a narcissist. And therefore, when it comes to the lesser and mid-range narcissist, there is no realization that they ought not to have manipulated you or played you at all. And anybody who suggests that the narcissist does realize that doesn't understand narcissism or its emotional thinking on their part, or you're listening to an unaware mid-range narcissist exemplifying their grandiosity and the need to assert control by thinking that the narcissist regrets what's happened. Take it from me, we don't. We can't. It mustn't happen. What then about the greaters and the ultra? Well, we know that we're playing you. We know that we're manipulating you. It is our right to do so. The ends always justifies the means. It's born out of our sense of entitlement that we can play these games with you. Indeed, we enjoy doing it. The fuel that is provided from it and the knowledge that we orchestrated of this only goes to support our greatness and superiority over everybody else. The playing of the archetypal game of chess, the people as the pawns, it's all a form of entertainment to us. So we do indeed know that we're playing you. We know that we're manipulating you, and it's entirely justified. But then, given that we, the greaters and the ultra, realise that we are playing or manipulating you, do we then say, shouldn't have done that? Well, first of all, it rarely ends up in a situation that the manipulation caused by the greater the ultra has a downside for us. Most of the time, we get it right. We achieve the prime aims, there isn't a problem. But it's not a 100% track record. There will be instances, of course, where the victim might, for instance, leave the formal relationship, escaping us. or will respond with challenge fuel, or will cause wounding in some other instance. So the outcome of our manipulation, whilst usually what we require, isn't always guaranteed to succeed. However, we don't then think to ourselves, buggeration, shouldn't have done that. We just shift to an alternative manipulation to correct the problem, and invariably that is what happens. If you escape us, initial Grand Hoover, we draw you back in. We don't think to ourselves, oh yes, that was our fault. We still see that you are the traitor and you're treacherous. You left because you're an idiot. You didn't realise how fortunate you were to be with us. You might complain about our behaviour, but it was justified. You brought it on yourself. And okay, maybe we lashed out at you to such an extent that it caused you to escape us, but that's because you couldn't take the heat any longer. But you still belong to us, and we will not only not accept that we are at fault because we're not, we'll also then remedy the situation by either drawing you back in through the initial Grand Hoover, or trying for a period of time and then deciding didn't need them. Therefore, we assert control over you by jettisoning you, no longer trying to draw you back in, and we just shift to somebody else. And the effectivenesses of our fuel matrices enable us to do that very easily. If you issue a challenge towards us and threaten our control, we relish that. Kitty's got claws. Excellent. Time to have some fun. And we will always assert control over you. Because the narcissist always does. Either directly or through the creation of our own world, through the second or third assertions of control. We, through our narcissism, always get to the point that we need to. And that's why in our world, we always win. Which is why I repeatedly tell you, you need to stay out of our world, because when you're in it, you can't win. And if you don't accept that, more fool you. And yes, your emotional thinking may be railing against you by saying, listen to him all cocky about how the narcissists always win. It's not a state of being cockiness, it's a reality. That's how we operate. In effect, yes, we cheat to get to the win because we create our own world, but that doesn't matter, because we're achieving what we want. Don't like it? Don't play. That's the point. Keep playing with us, you'll keep losing. So the point is that when it comes to the question of when the narcissists realise they should not have played you, what is it that happens? For the majority of narcissists, they don't realise that they're playing or manipulating you. And when they might see that there's a downside, it's not their fault, it's your fault anyway. So there's no repercussion that the narcissist will ever accept. And where it's the greater or the ultra, we of course know that we're manipulating you. Most of the time, that results in the appropriate outcome for you. And where there is a downside, well, you caused it, you're the problem, and we'll remedy it in some form or other, either tightening our grip over you or jettisoning you and applying our grip on somebody else instead. This has been a Tudor treatment. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.